All right, my friends, so today we are taking a look at a new gimbal. So this is kind of a all-in-one 3-axis gimbal from FeiyuTech, and it's the G6 Max. G6 Max. So a couple reasons that I wanted to look at this gimbal and to kind of see if it was worth it. Number one is the reviews are pretty fantastic. 162 ratings currently on Amazon. That's Amazon Canada, giving it 4.5 stars, so nothing to complain about there. So one of the biggest perks about a gimbal like the G6 Max here is that it seems that it would come with everything that you and I would need to have one gimbal that we could use for our smartphone, we could use for our GoPro, our action camera, we could use for our mirrorless camera. Now, the big thing that it says here is, if you look at the box, smartphone, cool, action camera, awesome, pocket camera, it says pocket camera. My concern was, and you'll even see it here, it says A7, then it says like the RX 100 series. But it does have a payload of 1.2 kilograms. So today what we're gonna do is I'm going to open the box, see what it comes with, because that's kind of important. And then we're gonna look at what kind of setup we can possibly put on this that is under 1.2 kilograms and see how well it works. Yeah, and that's gonna come up right now. One of the things I was looking at, so yes, does it do a smartphone? Yeah, so this will work just fine. And hopefully it comes with all the mounting gear, I guess, that we need for this to mount to a cell phone. So basically just a little clamp, I guess. Works with a GoPro. Now the GoPro has an amazing, especially if you have a 7 or 8 or 9, has an amazing stabilizer in it. Also, if you have like an Insta360, those have amazing stabilizers, but anything that can help, always good. And a lot of us want to get that out just a little bit further. So again, having that reach that a gimbal can give us, something like this, could be good. Again, I have an Insta360 1R, so shape very similar, so it should have no problems working with this gimbal as well. That's pretty cool. Last but not least, we're looking at cameras. So cameras like, you know, like this. So 1.2 kilograms is a fair bit of weight. That's actually a fair bit of weight for this gimbal to be able to support. So I was trying to go around and look at weight specifications, and an M50 with this lens, not an issue, should have no problem. Now I have a cage on here, so that's gonna add a little bit of weight, but not much. That shouldn't matter anyway, because the camera itself, like with lens, is only coming in at, I don't know, maybe 500 or 600 grams. So this can do, you know, 1,200 grams. So that's not a concern. So I wanted to see if we could go heavier. So next one is actually this camera over here that's shooting over here. And that's the Canon EOS RP. Now the EOS RP, a little bit heavier, but actually not that much heavier. And it comes in around between 400 and 500 grams, I believe it is, for the body. Now, if we tack on a lens, so we're gonna try today with the RF 24-105, now the STM lens. And I'm doing the STM lens because it's a bit lighter than the 24-105 f4 lens. And if you're using like pro lenses and that, you're gonna be probably getting up above that weight limitation. But the RP with that 24-105 STM RF lens, still only coming in, I think it's around 900 grams combined. So we're still under it. So I was like, all right, my question now is, what about this camera? This camera right here. And this camera that we're shooting with here is the Canon R6. And the R6 with its kit lens, which is the 24-105 STM. That's the kit lens that I got with this camera. I wonder if that would work on this, because it does say pocket camera, and that's definitely not a pocket camera. So we're gonna try it with that combo. That combo comes in at 1.1 kilograms. So we are still under the 1.2, but balance does become a bit of a concern, right? Because if your lens is out, and we're gonna try it at 24 millimeters. So we're gonna try it at full wide to see if it can handle an R6 with that STM RF 24-105 lens on it. So I'm excited to see if that'll work. So let's crack open this box to see what it is. So here it is, G Max. pocket camera, action camera, smartphone, and you know what? You're looking at buying one gimbal. You're starting with a smartphone or you're starting with a GoPro, but you know that you're gonna wanna move up. Why not get a gimbal that will grow with you instead of being like, I gotta buy a new gimbal. So I like the fact that this kind of does everything and gives you fairly strong motors, right? Fairly strong motors. 1.2 kilograms is actually pretty good. So we're gonna undo this here. Try not to slice my wrist, because that would make quite the YouTube video, but wouldn't be good for me. Nope, and probably traumatic for some of you out there. Okay, so here it is. Let's see how this goes. All right. Oh, so it does come with a little, looks like a little case. So that's fantastic. I like that. I like that already. All right, so little FeiyuTech case. What else? We got something else in the box here. What is this? Hello. Hello. All right. So this is some of the stuff in here. So quick start guide and a warranty card. So does it say how much a warranty is? I don't know, but it does have QR codes if you want information. It does have all the web information, like email addresses and stuff like that. Inside here, this is where you can put your serial number and write all that stuff down, qualified, etc., etc. I don't know if it actually says what the warranty is. I'm sure we can look it up somewhere online. It's going to be I would say a year for sure, but yeah, so 1.2 kilograms is what this can lift, or 2.65 pounds. All right, okay. And this is the max, right? This is the max. Here it is, max. We're maxing it out. Okay, so overview. We're not going to go through all the bells and whistles and features and all that today. You guys, this is a gimbal, right? So we're going to be using it today primarily just to make sure that it functions and to see if it'll handle a big camera like this. Because if you and I don't have to spend Canadian-wise, you know, $400 or $500 and be able to get by on something like this that can, for one, grow with us up to like an RP or an R6 level. That's fantastic. Without question, it'll do the M50. Manual wise, really good. Does give you a little overview of what everything is. And 2 different languages, so it looks like Chinese and English. All right, that seems good. And here we go. I like the little case. That's nice. FeiyuTech. Yeah, that's good. Nothing wrong with that. Crack that open. It's lovely, put together very nice, and I like that it's smaller. That's pretty close to the same size as a lot of like smartphone gimbals. Definitely going to be a nicer build, way nicer in regards to build quality. Yeah, very nice. There's your lock, so you can see all these lock up, right? So nothing moves here, and you basically looks like you pop these down. So there's a little slider switch there. You push up or down like that, right? This here, you push it down. And now it moves. So you want to make sure when you're transporting this, you lock all these. You'll see another one there, right? But when you're actually going to use it, this is when you and I would make sure that these are locked. So we have the gimbal. So the gimbal's cool, and it's like it's metal. It's good quality, and I like this too. You guys can maybe see this. Hopefully, I think that's USB-C. Nice little seal on it. Don't have much for nails. Hold on. I'm trying to. Yeah, maybe. Yep, there it is. Yep, USB-C. So, very good. And this is nice too for a lot of us. It does have a little threading on here. So, with these threadings, that'll be useful because a lot of these, I believe, allow us to be able to put like your handle and stuff on there, depending on how you want to. Is it just a 1/4 20? Yeah. Not that I would necessarily put this over here, but depending on how you want to hold this, it does have a mount, and there's a lot of mounts you and I can get online that allow us to put like little attachments on these, and these attachments can be really useful because maybe you want to put a microphone on here because you don't want it on your camera because that's going to add more weight, but being able to attach it off to the side, yeah, that's good. I like the fact that they got some of these little mounting points. Little trigger that's going to help lock it, of course. There is another lock here. Just make sure you get that, so that one sways. So you got 3 locks. Make sure you unlock everything before you go crazy. Little extension handles. Primarily that's going to be used here at the bottom, right? Just kind of screw that on there so that you have a spot to stand your gimbal. And this is important too because especially when you get a bigger camera on there, you're going to want to be able to place that up like this so that it's there so you can balance it properly. So that's good. This is going to be like your little mounts for, this one is going to be like for your GoPro or whatever. Put it in there, right? That's going to slide in into this little spot, and then you can mount your GoPro or your smartphone or whatever. And I'm guessing maybe it doesn't come with it, so it doesn't look like it comes with it. You'd have to supply your own like phone clamp, but you could get a phone clamp and just kind of put that on there, and then you'd be good to go. So it doesn't come with the phone clamp, it just comes with the mount. There's your USB-C to USB-A cable, nice. And last but not least, we have a little box of accessories. What does that have in it? Oh, these are going to be all the different like control cables. So depending on like your camera, how you're connecting it to it. So it's all USB-C to something. So USB-C to 2.5, USB-C to 3.5, USB-C to micro. Oh my gosh, there's more stuff in here. What else is in here? Oh, it does come with the phone adapter. Oh, so you don't have to supply your own. So here's your little GoPro mount. So you get a little GoPro mount. So that's cool. You get the little lock. So everything you need for your GoPro. Very cool. And this is for your phone. So it does. It has everything. You're ready to rock and roll. No, it's good. You're set. This is going to be for your camera, GoPro stuff, cell phone, smartphone, connectors, USB. Fantastic. Comes with everything. I'm not going to keep the box, but I am going to just throw all the cables back here because I think that's useful. Definitely, I like that it comes with everything. That's excellent. Some of these can go over here, actually. You get what's happening. You get what's happening. We're just gonna shh. Okay, so what we're gonna do now is I'm going to connect my R6, which is this one, with a 24 to 105, and I'm gonna balance it. I'm not gonna show you how to balance it. If you've ever watched any kind of gimbal review, balancing is always the same. You just set it up. But we are going to go outside right now, and we're gonna test this R6 in a 24 to 105 STM RF lens. All right, let's go do that. Okay, guys. So before we go outside, I am doing it with the M50. As much as I wanted to set this up with the R6, it just doesn't have the strength to balance it because of how big the lens is. So it's so front heavy with those bigger lenses on it that there's just no way I could get it to balance properly, at least for me. I tried and tried and tried, couldn't get it to work. So I'm down to the M50. So even though this should have no problems with the weight of something like the RP or R6, the size of the body for the size of the gimbal, just kind of be aware. Now, I was shooting for the moon. It's not something that should actually fit on this. Weight says it does, but I was hoping. So I'm not gonna hold that against FeiyuTech. That was just me thinking that maybe. But we're gonna go out and try it with the M50 and see what we think. This balanced actually very nicely. Didn't take long to balance at all. And if I turn this on, the hope is that it should balance properly. Let's see. And we're ready. All right, let's go outside. All right, guys, so here it is, all set up. We are going to turn my camera on, which it looks like it is. Hit the record button. Hopefully that's recording. If you hit the trigger 3 times, she'll spin around so I can see that it's not recording. Now it's recording. There we go. Recording. Perfect. And we can go for a quick little walk. Now, realize that the stability is and my inability to frame it is my own issue, not necessarily the issue of the gimbal and or the camera. But we're just looking at stability because an M50 with the standard lens, stability is not great, right? The IS on it isn't fantastic. So hopefully this will help a little bit in things like walking. Would have been nice to be able to use something like the R6, but you know, the other issue is it's a heavy camera. So if you're trying to do this kind of stuff with one hand, then having a smaller setup, definitely really nice. And that's where something like the M50, I still use it for things like vlogging and that. I just want something light. So that's really cool. And I do like the fact that if you just double tap the
the actual trigger. So 1, 2. She spins around and you can be like, okay, let's just get a shot that way. And you guys can see how well it's stabilizing, doing its job. You know, spinning around. Awesome, right? Nice and stable. And if you want to come back to yourself, it's triple click. So 1, 2, 3. And she'll spin back around this way. Awesome. Nice little spin around. Do some more little walking here. People are always like, what's going on with this guy? But that's cool, right? Walking up and down the street. This is my street. That's where I live. Alright, so what we're going to do is see how well it can stabilize with me walking a little faster. And again, this would be impossible for me to keep steady with the M50, so I think it's doing okay. And I'm not going to add any stabilization or anything. This is right out of the actual camera. So, and then we'll spin it back around again. I like the 2 trigger, spin it around. We can kind of just walk like this. You can see some of the colors are changing, which is nice. And one last spin around while we're moving. Yeah, that works good. And it's not that big of a gimbal, which I actually really like. What's cool too is you guys can see that you can move the camera around with the trigger if you want, which is nice, right? Move it right and left all over the place. But if you just want to kind of focus on up and down, because this you can be like, oh, I moved it off to the side. If you got that perfect where you want, you can use this for just up and down, which is kind of nice as well. So you just get that kind of thumb control just to kind of get it exactly where you want it. Yeah, that's handy. I like that, because usually that's the issue, is that part. So you can just put your finger on there for the thumb. Yeah, that's great. All right, let's go back upstairs. Okay, so we're back. Still got my little camera on. Take that off. So yeah, so would have been awesome if it were to have fit the bigger cameras, but again, that's not what it's designed for. And for those of you that were like me and were like, it's under the weight limitation. Yeah, I think the issue is that the R6 and RP are physically bigger, so it's just, it doesn't have that ability to really house the physical size of it. And it really is designed, as they say, a pocket camera, or something like the M50, right? The M50, or I would even say like the Sony 6000 series should probably have no issues. I'd also like to see how it would do now with the, what is it, the A7C, I think it is? That one would be cool, just as a test. As far as I can see, works great. I'm gonna play around with some of the features of it. So if you're looking for a gimbal, that's a great starting point. So you want to be able to use it now with your smartphone because that's all you have, or you want to be able to use it now with your action camera, GoPro, whatever, because that's all you have. But you are probably or possibly going to also be able to want this with a camera that you may grow into in the future. Let's say an M50 or an M50 Mark II when that kind of comes out, or anything that's kind of in this size and form factor. I think the form factor plays almost a bigger role than the size does. So just kind of be aware of that. Now the other thing too that you want to play with that I did is you can go in, and it's actually one of the first things that you kind of come across is motor sensitivity. And I had to crank mine up because once we start putting bigger cameras, the motors have to become kind of more sensitive. So play with that. So if your camera starts to shake a little bit, just adjust your motor sensitivity and you're good to go. So keep it low for things like GoPros and smartphones. Bring it up a little higher when you get into bigger cameras or cameras that have a little bit more of a balancing concern where the motors have to be a bit stronger. But I shot this with the LCD screen out. Balance is, as you can see, balance is dead on, and it's a good price point, like 300 bucks. So a little bit more than you pay for just a smartphone gimbal, but you get a gimbal that you don't have to replace until you get into bigger cameras. All right, guys, I'm gonna leave it there. I think it's pretty good. You know, the G6 Max from FeiyuTech. I'll put links down below where you guys can pick one up if you're interested in something like this. And I think if you're looking at a one-stop shop gimbal, not a bad option.
All right, my friends, I'm gonna leave it there. Links down below, and that's it. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Do all that stuff because it's cool. Buy a gimbal through our links. It doesn't cost more for you, and it helps us get more stuff so we can test it for you. All right, guys, we'll leave you there. Later.